The Bhagavatam, by rendering service to the pure devotee, almost all that is troublesome to the heart is completely destroyed. Love His Supreme Personality of God, His praise of transcendental song is established as an irrevocable fact. Okay. So today's subject matter is about the ego. This is very nice.
Baba.
Okay, can you go get changed now? You're really stinking up my experience.
Baba.
Yes, it is Prabhupada actually, following Srila Prabhupada. That's what the video is. So very good. But we're going to read Bhagavatam. We're going to read from Srila Prabhupada. That's okay. Okay. Now, before we begin, we will do our Mangala charm. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna offer my obeisances unto Shri Guru. Without His mercy, we have nothing to know, and nothing, no devotional mercy. It's Yasya Prasada, Bhagavad Prasada. When he gets his mercy, he gets the Lord's mercy, and Yasya Prasada Nagati Katopi. One who does not get his mercy cannot make advancement anywhere. So, my obeisances unto Shri Guru and unto all of the spiritual masters in our Gaudiya Guru Varga, which is giving the empowerment from Krishna down through Guru to us. And finally, I want to offer my obeisances to the Vaishnavas. So, we are continuing our study of Bhagavatam. We have to put it on the screen here. So, we might need help with the TV here. Oh, it's worked. Okay. So, please, you smell so bad. It would be really nice if your mother changed you. But some type of thing is happening otherwise. Anyhow. Sabhuta sukshmendriya sanikarshang Mano mayang deva mayang vikaryam Sang sadhya gatya sahatena yati Vijnana tattvang gunasani rodham. Saha, he, the devotee. Bhuta, the gross. Sukshma, and the subtle. Indriya, senses. Sanikarsham, the point of neutralization. Manamayam, the mental plane. Devamayam, in the mode of goodness. Vikaryam, egoism. Sang sadhya, surpassing. Gatya, by the process. Saha, along with. Tena, them. Yati, goes. Vijnana, perfect knowledge. Tattvam, truth. Guna, the material modes. Sanirodham, completely suspended. So where did we end last time also? It's good to do. The devotee thus surpasses the subtle objects of different senses like aroma by smelling, the palate by tasting, the vision by seeing forms, touch by contacting, the vibration of the ears by ethereal identification, and the sense organs by material activities. Did we read this yesterday? You sure? Yeah. So, the mystic yogi, he's leaving his body and he's penetrating through all of the different layers of universal covering, and the different senses and the objects of the senses, like that are carrying aroma and taste and form, form to be seen by the vision, our sense of sight, and touch and so on. All of these are actually coverings of the real spiritual self. So, but as the yogi is progressing through all the coverings, he's making his way to the higher realm. He'll be moving through all these coverings. And also you can, even yourself, when you pass, if you were to leave like a yogi and direct your soul out of the body, out of the covering of the body, because the body is covering it, you have to pass through so many layers of ignorance that actually the body is carrying. So, and that's all just the physical. Then there's the subtle. So now today we're talking about the subtle, and the subtle is composed of what?
Mind, intelligence, and false ego.
Yes, the mind, the intelligence, and false ego. So, he says, the devotee, thus surpassing the gross and the subtle forms of coverings, enters the plane of egoism. And in that status, he merges the material modes of nature, ignorance and passion, in this point of neutralization, and thus reaches egoism in goodness. And after this, all egoism is merged in the Mahatattva, and he comes to the point of pure self-realization. Purport. Prabhupada's going to blast us today. Pure self-realization, as we have several times discussed, is the pure consciousness of admitting oneself to be the eternal servitor of the Lord. Thus one is reinstated in his original position of transcendental loving service to the Lord, as will be clearly explained in the following verse. This stage of rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord without any hopes of emolument from the Lord. I think that's reward, but let's look. Emolument. It's like a salary or fee or profit. Yes, so it's like a reward. So, without any hopes of emolument from the Lord, or any other way can be attained when the material senses are purified and the original pure state of the senses is revived. It is suggested herein that the process of purifying the senses is by the yogic way. Namely, the gross senses are merged in the mode of ignorance, and the subtle senses are merged in the mode of passion. So your gross senses, they get very happy when they actually touch the dull inert matter of this world. So like sex, the palate, the tongue, tasting, and even the rock and roll, the music, all these things, entertainment. But the mental is actually the mode of passion. It's all of your dreams and aspirations and plans. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to go like this. This is all Rajaguna, and it leads all to misery. It's all a miserable situation.
It sounds like selfish. It has nothing to do with Krishna.
Yes.
Whimsical,
yeah, it's all concoction for your own enjoyment. And so how can I enjoy next? And passion eventually leads to ignorance, because then you meditate on how you can engage with the gross the senses of the body, even though it has nothing to do with you actually. But this is the situation.
So what about the thoughts of a pure devotee? Like if you're getting instruction from a guru and he's hearing your situation.
Yeah, he's actually not on the mental. It's not the mental platform. He also has. There is a spiritual mind, intelligence, and false ego actually, but it's a transcendental personality. A truly transcendental personality is not operating on that platform. He's situated in his transcendental position, and everything is coming from that. So even though he may have a body that appears physical and all these things, he is not identifying with that. He is just using that as a vessel so you can see him, essentially. Or Krishna is using that as a vessel so you can see and perceive him, but he is actually already on a different platform. He's achieved his Siddha Swarup, if you've heard of such a thing. So anyhow, did that hurt? No, I must have just missed him. He was like this close to his toes. So that is, that's quite the accomplishment. But actually, this is the process of going towards the Siddha Swarup. What?
Like the Chitta Guru,
the Chaitya Guru. He is also there with the person in the Siddha Swarup. The super soul actually there's the super soul in this world, and then as far as I know, the super soul is also empowering everything in the other world, but the devotees there, they don't connect to the super soul. That's a yogi thing, so but the super soul, nothing can actually move without the expansion of the Lord facilitating everything. So without the Lord's facilitating aspect as the super soul, making sure everything happens perfectly and inspiring everyone in every single thing that they want to do, ultimately, nothing goes on. Because actually, all this matter in this world is dead. It's all dead things. And it's only by the super soul, this glance, the greater super soul is Mahavishnu, and then the minimized but still great super soul is the Garbhodakshay Vishnu, dreaming up this world through Brahma, and then ultimately the Kshirodakshay Vishnu, which is empowering every aspect and within everything. So, good question, but I don't have so much realization of the super soul, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I was mostly in terms of our thoughts are inauspicious, but what about receiving, people have good conscience, right? People know, generally, it's obvious if something's bad.
Yeah, well, there's filters of the modes of nature. So the modes of nature, if your consciousness is affected heavily by the mode of ignorance, the pure message of Godhead coming through the super soul, it will get filtered through your mode of ignorance, and then it'll come out as some inauspicious idea or something like that. But if you're in the mode of passion, then it'll get filtered out in some passionate idea or something like that. Or some mixture. It's usually a mixture. And then, or if you become more sattvic, if you become more in tune with purification practices and so on, you might get some sattvic ideas and things. But it's not until you actually move past these modes of nature that are you getting a pure connection from the super soul, a pure transmission. Even from a transcendental personality, the covering hasn't been released from you. If now a transcendental personality has the power to release you. So if you get in their association, just by their mercy alone, in conjunction with the Lord, it can, completely eradicate that. But if you don't have the right mood or something like that, or if there's still a heavy pride with you or something, they may not be so attracted to give that mercy. So you have to see. So anyhow, what was the last thing I read? It is suggested herein that the process of purifying the senses is by the yogic way. Namely, the gross senses are merged in the mode of ignorance, and the subtle senses are merged in the mode of passion. The mind belongs to the mode of goodness, and therefore it is called Deva Maya, or godly. Perfect purification of the mind is made possible when one is fixed in the conviction of being the eternal servitor of the Lord. So this is the perfect purification of the mind, if we can become nishta, or fixed in this conviction of being the eternal servitor of the Lord. Therefore, simple attainment of goodness is also a material mode. One has to surpass the stage of material goodness and reach the point of purified goodness, or Vasudev Sattva. This Vasudev Sattva helps one to enter into the kingdom of God. So unless you are fully, even if you're in a sattvic environment, eating sattvic foods, doing sattvic practices, if your conviction is still to try to enjoy this world, Rajaguna is still driving everything, and at this lower mode of nature, and your so-called sattva that you achieved is temporary, and it was limited, and it ultimately can't fully become purely sattvic. So what's the pure sattvic? Is understanding that I am an eternal servant of the Lord, that my life and my activities are solely for the service of the Lord, and anything else is actually inauspicious. Anything else. Any other idea, I don't have time to serve the Lord, we've got work to do, or we've got relatives to attend to. Even all those things should be services to the Lord. Otherwise, it's all inauspicious actually. Meaning it's all leading to miserable and not good result for the soul to be engaged in that activity. So, we may also remember in this connection that the process of gradual emancipation by the devotees, in the manner mentioned above, although authoritative, is not viable in the present age because of people's being primarily unaware of yoga practice. Meaning, we have not been trained to meditate, we have not been trained to direct our consciousness, we have not been trained to sit still, we have not been trained to eat pure foods, we haven't been trained to not be so distracted by technology and this, that, and the other thing. So it's practically impossible already what this is being described.
We're going to train the opposite in every one of those fields.
Exactly. So this is a problem. So the so-called yoga practice by the professional protagonist may be physiologically beneficial, but such small successes cannot help one in the attainment of spiritual emancipation as mentioned herein. 5,000 years ago, when the social status of human society was in perfect Vedic order, the yoga process mentioned herein was a common affair for everyone, because everyone, and especially the Brahmin and Kshatriya, was trained in the transcendental art under the care of the spiritual master, far away from home, in the status of brahmacharya. Modern man, however, is incompetent to understand it perfectly. So because we never leave home, because we never undergo the proper training for understanding the spiritual reality in this yogic art, we are a wreck. We're a mental and physical wreck. And we're incompetent to understand it perfectly. Even if we try to follow the instructions we read here, it's not going to happen because we haven't been properly trained. So what to do? Lord Sri Chaitanya therefore made it easier for the prospective devotee of the present age in the following specific manner. Ultimately, there is no difference in the result. The first and foremost point is that one must understand the prime importance of Bhakti Yoga. The living beings in different species of life are undergoing different terms of engagement according to their fruitive actions and reactions. But in the execution of different activities, one who secures some resources in Bhakti Yoga can understand the importance of service to the Lord through the causeless mercy of the Lord, as well as that of the spiritual master. So the main thing is to achieve yoga. Yoga is this united state with our true ego. Our true ego is that we are a servant of the Lord. And there's different activities that we can do, and there's different transcendental things and personalities we can associate with that will allow us to be in that state of yoga. So Bhakti Yoga in Bhagavad Gita is touted that this is the most superior, the topmost yoga system. So, a sincere soul is helped by the Lord through meeting a bona fide spiritual master, the representative of the Lord. By the instruction of such a spiritual master, one gets the seed of Bhakti Yoga. So this is the only way that you get the seed of Bhakti Yoga. It's not actually that Prabhupada's books help, because he's actually giving the instruction of a spiritual master. But in order to practice Bhakti Yoga in this modern time, age, and circumstance, you will need a bona fide spiritual master. And their order and instruction will be the life of your Bhakti Yoga. Anything else is what?
Karma yoga, jnana yoga, or just speculation.
Yes. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, or even worse, just karma. Because it's not even engaged in yoga. So it's ultimately impure, and you can't get the final result of really achieving the topmost yoga. So, so Bhakti Yoga is done through through meeting and taking instruction and taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master who has himself done that process and received instruction from a transcendental personality. The only way you can go from not transcendental to transcendental is you have to meet someone who's transcendental and they transcendentalize you. It's the only way. And the only way they got transcendental is that same thing must have happened to them. Transcendentalized. And that goes back and back and back. And the original transcendental personality is God himself. And when he empowered the first living entity in this universe, Brahma in this universe, that's how the cyclic succession starts. So this is the only way. So it requires the corrupted soul, like us, to become humble. And before a more advanced soul, to humble ourselves and truly surrender. And then we can make advancement. So, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends that the devotee sow the seed of Bhakti Yoga in his heart and nurture it by the watering of hearing and chanting the holy name, fame, etc. of the Lord. The simple process of offenselessly chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord will gradually promote one very soon to the stage of emancipation. So, under the instruction of the spiritual master, then to practice offenselessly chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord, and this will gradually promote one very soon to the stage of emancipation. Right? We hear this, right? Shat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapya Vidya Pieto Patapta Rasanasya Narochikam. So Krishna's name, when it's arisen, his name, Shat Krishna Nama Charitari, and his character, his pastimes, his activities. Sita is very sweet, but due to our ignorance, Yavidya, Pitopa Tapta, we're afflicted by like pitta is like fire. So when you have, it's like acid reflux, and when acid reflux comes up into your tongue, it burns your tongue, and then your tongue can't taste. So maybe you've also experienced. Have you ever burnt your tongue and you can't taste anything? Yes.
Maybe not from acid reflux, but
No, but in just burning your tongue, yes. So this happening from acid reflux is called jaundice. So.
oh,
And so this pitta that burns the tongue, rasanasya narochi kanu, it makes it so the tongue can't taste the sweetness due to the disease condition. But it says, kintvadarad, but very carefully, anudinang, 24 hours, all the time, kalu saiba jushta. If one just takes this, indeed, if he certainly just takes this holy name, just takes the holy name. But who do you get the holy name from? From the Guru, yes. So unless a bona fide spiritual master gives you the holy name, you can't have the holy name. So it must be understood. It has to be understood. And so, and then svadvi kramad. Then you'll relish the holy name. Kramad, how? Gradually you'll relish it. Bhavati, and it'll become. Tadgata is that disease. Mulahantri, at its root, will be completely destroyed. So this is the process here. Take the holy name from the Guru and then engage in the bhajana kriyas that the Guru is giving. And then once the bhajana kriyas begin, then you can start overcoming the obstacles and achieve this. At the beginning, he was talking of nishtha, becoming fixed in one's position as the servitor of the Lord. So this is how we do it. So there are 3 stages in chanting the holy name of the Lord. The first stage is the offensive chanting of the holy name, and the second is the reflective stage of chanting the holy name. The third stage is the offenseless chanting of the holy name of the Lord. In the second stage only, the stage of reflection, between the offensive and offenseless stages, one automatically attains the stage of emancipation. So all you have to do is just get to the reflective stage where you stop making the offenses to the holy names of the Lord. And then you're free from all suffering. It's very nice. You don't even have to reach perfection to get that. That's just an automatic thing. And in the offenseless stage, one actually enters into the kingdom of God. Although physically he may apparently be within the material world. To attain the offenseless stage, one must be on guard in the following manner. When we speak of hearing and chanting, it means that not only should one chant and hear of the holy name of the Lord as Rama, Krishna, or systematically the 16 names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. But one should also read. One should also read. And hear the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of devotees. The primary practice of bhakti yoga will cause the seed already sowed in the heart to sprout, and by a regular watering process as mentioned above, the bhakti yoga creeper will begin to grow. So, you're given the seed, the holy name, but how will it grow?
the regular practices and the association of devotees.
Yes, so to read and hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of devotees. So first, there needs to be devotees, then the transcendental discussions and topics must be there, and then that's how your bhakti will grow. And then that's how the holy name will sprout more and more and more and more. It's a gradual process. So these 3 things, your own chanting, your reading for transcendental subject matters. He's saying Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, so take that. If you haven't read those and don't know them thoroughly, that's your step 1. And then in the association of devotees, you should hear these subject matters regularly. Which is why this program is supposed to be here so that people somehow can benefit. But we're not doing a great job of making them realize because just you are here. And me, and my wife and son. So, but anyway, we'll have to... where's your dad today?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
From the mom.
Yes. Let him know what you've learned in your reading today. So, the primary practice of bhakti yoga will cause the seed already sowed in heart to sprout, and by a regular watering process as mentioned above, the bhakti yoga creeper will begin to grow. By systematic nurturing, the creeper will grow to such an extent that it will penetrate the coverings of the universe, as we have heard in the previous verses, reach the effulgent sky, the Brahmajyoti, and go farther and farther and reach the spiritual sky, where there are innumerable spiritual planets called Vaikuntha Lokas. Above all of them is Krishna Loka, or Goloka Vrindavan, wherein the growing creeper enters and takes repose at the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, the original personality of Godhead. So this is actually how we advance out of, because this verse is talking about how to penetrate through the material coverings. But by this bhakti yoga process, because we can't do the restraining the breath technical yoga process, it's so difficult in any age, but in this age it's extremely difficult. Because we can't really do it properly, the process of bhakti yoga, which is chanting the holy name of the Lord, pretty much begging the Lord for mercy, and through the merciful personalities, gradually that mercy is given more and more through the Lord's holy name. And the Lord will come to you via the holy name and take you through all the coverings, all gradually. So, above all of them is Krishna Loka or Goloka Vrindavan, wherein the growing creeper enters and takes repose at the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, the original personality of Godhead. When one reaches the lotus feet of Lord Krishna at Goloka Vrindavan, the watering process of hearing and reading is as also chanting of the holy name in the pure devotional stage fructifies, and the fruits grown there in the form of love of God are tangibly tasted by the devotee. So Prabhupada is saying hearing and reading and chanting. These should be our main activities. Okay, we're hearing, we're reading, and we're chanting. Everything else is, it's not the process. I mean, it is. There's many other services that need to be done. But if these three are not being done, then everything else, what good will it be? Even if one of them is out of whack, what good will the other two be? They're all meant to work together. So, and are tangibly tasted by the devotee, even though he is here in this material world. The ripe fruits of love of God are relished only by the devotees constantly engaged in the watering process as described above. Satatam kirtayanto ma nama yatantas jadridha vrtaha namasyantas chamam bhaktya. Is it? Nitya yukta upasate? That's it? So satatam kirtayanto mam, always performing kirtan of me. Yatantas jadridha vrtaha, endeavoring with great determination. Namasyantas chamam bhaktya, always offering their obeisances unto me with devotion. Nitya, and being perpetually engaged in my worship. This is what Mahatmas do. This is what the great souls do. And this is the watering process. Actually, in Raghunath Das Goswami's Manashiksha, in the 11th verse, he talks about the Panchamritang of Bhakti, the 5 nectars of Bhakti. And it's, the verse goes, Samang Shri Rupena Smadaviva Sharadha Giri Vritor. I can chant it any day. Radha Giri Vritor. Vraje Sakshat Seva Labana Vidaye Tadgana Yujo Tad Ijyakya Dhyana Shravana Nati Panchamritamidam. So what he's saying is that this Panchamrita is composed of Ij, his deity worship, Akya, Kirtan, Dhyana, Shravan, and meditation on the deity, and the Kirtan, and Shravan, hearing, and Nati is offering one's obeisances. By all five of these Panchamrita, Dayan Nityam, Tarijyakyam Dhyana, Shravana Nati Panchamrita Midam, Dayan Nityam Govardhanam Manurinam Tvang Bhajamanaha. And you should drink this, and you should worship Giri Govardhan daily. So, like this. So anyhow, so the ripe fruits of love of God are relished only by the devotees constantly engaged in the watering process as described above. But the working devotee must always be mindful so that the creeper which is so grown will not be cut off. Therefore, one should be mindful of the following considerations. Offense by one at the feet of a pure devotee may be likened to the mad elephant who devastates a very good garden if it enters. 2. One must be very careful to guard himself against such offenses at the feet of a pure devotee, just as one protects a creeper by all-around fencing. So, if you make an offense to a pure devotee, you're in big trouble. It so happens that by the watering process, some weeds are also grown. And unless such weeds are uprooted, the nurturing of the main creeper, the creeper of Bhakti Yoga, may be hampered. So what happens is, we see this, when you begin a devotional process, devotees have engaged people in devotion, and then they start practicing, and they get good results in their life. But what happens also, because before their life was so sinful that they had just inauspiciousness everywhere, but then all of a sudden their life gets a little bit more blessed by the practice of Bhakti Yoga, and then all of a sudden these other desires, like, oh well, now that I'm much more beautiful than I was before, let me go engage in this activity. Or now that I have more money than I had before, let me go engage in this activity. And then the weeds come up. And if we let these weeds keep growing and keep growing and keep growing, it'll actually choke out the devotional creeper. So, unless such weeds are uprooted, the nurturing of the main creeper, the creeper of Bhakti Yoga, may be hampered. 4. Actually, these weeds are material enjoyment. Merging of the self and the absolute without separate individuality, and many other desires in the field of religion, economic development, sense enjoyment, and emancipation. What's that? Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So this is Varnashram, the system of Varnashram. That's why every day, before chanting my Gayatri and many other devotees chant, Naham Bipro Nachanadapatir, Napi Vaishyo Na Shudro, Naham Varni Nachagrihapatir, Novanashto, you're right. Novanashto Yatirva. No, tell us what it means.
I'm not a Brahmana, I'm not a Kshatriya, I'm not a Vaishya or Shudra, nor am I a Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, or Sannyasa. I identify myself only as the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna. He is the maintainer of the gopis. He is like an ocean of nectar, and he is the cause of universal transcendental bliss. He is always existing with brilliance.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That was pretty good. So
it's not the word for word, but it's like the whole.
It is. You did pretty much do the word for Lord. It's Kintu Pradyan, but this ever expanding Paramananda of supreme bliss, Purnamritabter, complete ocean of supreme bliss, Gopi Bhartu of Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis, Padakamalar at his lotus feet, Dasadasana as being the servant. You even added some other words which are nice, also, which could be added on to the definitions I know. So it's very nice. So if we chant this and we know what it means, and we actually can pray this every day, we won't actually get caught up in these weeds. And these weeds can be like expecting certain type of, for yourself. Oh, I'm a grihastha, so I have to have this, this, and this, and this. Or oh, I'm a brahmachari, I have to have this, this, and this. Or I'm a brahmana, I have to have this, this, and this, and this. These are fine if they are favorable to the actual original creeper of bhakti yoga. Otherwise, they're all hamperments, they're all weeds, and they will choke out your bhakti. So this has to be understood. There are many other weeds, like disobedience to the tenets of the revered scriptures, unnecessary engagements, killing animals, and hankering after material gain, prestige, and adoration. Right? Atyahara, unnecessary engagements, and prayasas is unnecessary engagements, over endeavoring. And atyahara is different, would be probably in the number 4. And then prajalpo is also another unnecessary engagement and just speaking about nonsense. And niyamagraha is either disobedience to the tenets of the revered scriptures, or it's disobeying higher tenets of the revered scriptures and observing lower ones. So, and then janasanga is, that's more number 4. And lolyam is in this one, hankering after material gain, prestige, and adoration. These things destroy bhakti. And they destroy your creeper. And killing animals, it's obviously, everyone should know that killing is wrong. Unnecessarily. Because sometimes killing has to be done for the well-being of others. But there are scriptural proper ways in which killing is sanctified. But killing for basic eating is not sanctified. It's wrong. We know that. We're all practicing that here. 6. If sufficient care is not taken, then the watering process may only help to breed the weeds. That's very important. If sufficient care is not taken, then the watering process, meaning chanting Hare Krishna, hearing Bhagavad Gita, and reading about Bhagavad Gita, and hearing and reading Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, will actually make one more engaged in material gain, prestige, and adoration. Have you seen it before? Have we seen this? Yes.
In my own life, I've seen it.
Yes. Oh, I'm chanting. My life has gotten more auspicious. My, all these sinful problems I was having previously, which was obstacles to my material enjoyment, have been released, and now I can materially enjoy. This will ruin the bhakti. So it's stunting the healthy growth of the main creeper and resulting in no fructification of the ultimate requirement, love of God. So we'll never get prem, Krishna prem. We'll never get it if we get stuck on these anarthas. So the devotee must therefore be very careful to uproot the different weeds in the very beginning. Only then will the healthy growth of the main creeper not be stunted. In the very beginning, the longer you let a weed grow, the harder it is to rip out. So as soon as it comes up, it has to be checked. 8. And by so doing, the devotee is able to relish the fruit of love of God and thus live practically with Lord Krishna, even in this life, and be able to see the Lord in every step. The highest perfection of life is to enjoy life constantly in the association of the Lord, and one who can relish this does not aspire after any temporary enjoyment of the material world via other media, meaning other means of happiness. So in the spiritual world, there's a constant enjoyment in association of being the servant of the Lord. So really, actually, every other endeavor is just useless in comparison. So other endeavors can help you, assist you in that main endeavor. But if they don't help you in that, you must adjust it or get rid of it or this, that, and the other. So this is very important. This is why we read about these subject matters. The next verse it's too long, so we're going to stop there. And there's only a few of us here, so might as well. And we're going to go out and do some preaching today because school is back. So, and with Abhiram too. So, Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. May we actually let me just read this original translation. The devotee, thus surpassing the gross and subtle forms of coverings, enters the plane of egoism. And in that status he merges the material modes of nature, ignorance and passion, in this point of neutralization, and thus reaches egoism in goodness. After this, all egoism is merged in the Mahatattva, and he comes to the point of pure self-realization. So what was described here is how the covering of egoism, and egoism is called ahankara. What's ahankara mean?
False ego. Or
Yes.
identifying.
Look at the Sanskrit. Aham means what? I. And kara means what? Karma means to act, to. Meaning, I am the doer. That is the ahankara. Ahankara means I am the doer, and specifically means also I am the enjoyer. So, the only way to overcome this is to meet a personality who knows the real ego, and the real ego is what?
The servant of the servant.
I'm the dasa anudas. I am the servant of the servant of the Lord. So he knows this, and he's acting on this platform, and by meeting him and being inspired by him, and then ultimately surrendering to him, or her, and taking that transcendental holy name and the process of hearing and reading, and following bhajana kriyas, any activities they prescribe, yes, that's it. That's my activities. So this is bhakti, and this is how you can overcome the coverings of egoism. Otherwise, we're not doing bhajana kriya, and we will never get the Anatha Nivritti without doing bhajana kriya. So bhajana kriya is done how? Devi, you tell everyone. How do you do bhajana kriya? Okay. Madhav, tell everyone, how do you do bhajana kriya?
Through the association of your spiritual master, and when he engages you in devotional activities, and you follow under his instructions and orders.
Yes.
And you know that you're engaging in something that Krishna wants you to do rather than your own ideas.
Yes.
That isn't actually, may or very likely will not be pleasing Krishna.
Yes, that's exactly right. So bhajana kriya are activities of bhajan given by the spiritual master or given by the one qualified to be a spiritual master, so by a transcendental personality. So this is how you can do it. This is what Prabhupada explained here. And the activities that our spiritual masters are recommending are chanting Hare Krishna, reading Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and hearing from the devotees about these things, especially those advanced devotees. But unless you're taking guidance from the bona fide representative of the Lord, those things can actually sprout weeds. So you have to be so careful. Are all my considerations for that higher purpose? All my considerations for the service of that person I accept as the transcendental representative of Krishna?
I need you to finish because he's freaking out the jar now.
So, Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.